Before we dive in, I want to ask you a quick favor, and it's one that's really important to me. If you have found this podcast helpful, would you please take a moment to rate and review How Long Till Bedtime? I can see our listener numbers growing, but very few people actually stop and take that less than a minute it takes to rate and review the podcast. And listen, I get it. If the podcasts that I listen to didn't ask me, I wouldn't even think to rate and review even my favorite podcast. So I'm asking, if you're listening right now, please tap that 5-star button wherever you are currently listening. Your support truly helps us continue creating and sharing this free educational content for parents. Okay, on to today's episode. Today is a shorty episode, all about the transition from 2 naps to 1. If you have a child under 15 months and you're wondering whether it's time to drop a nap, or you've already made the transition and it has thrown sleep off or triggered a regression, this episode is for you. Hi, I'm Allison Egidi, a pediatric sleep and wellness coach and a mom of 2. I love to help parents find solutions. This is How Long Till Bedtime. Hey there, Allison here. Welcome back to How Long Till Bedtime. Lately, I've been feeling really drawn to talk about the topics that are coming up most often with my clients. And one of those topics is a premature transition down to 1 nap a day. I've been hearing from more and more parents of 10, 11, 12-month-olds who were either told it was time to drop to 1 nap or felt pressured into making the transition because their baby was suddenly struggling with one or both of their naps. But after making the switch to 1 nap a day, these families suddenly found night sleep in a new, challenging position. So today I want to talk about when babies are actually developmentally ready for this nap transition and what to do if your baby isn't ready but is struggling to hold on to 2 naps. While every baby's development and circadian rhythm changes are unique, I have found time and time again that keeping 2 naps until as close to 15 months as possible is the best way to support a smooth transition to 1 nap and to protect good night sleep. That said, there are 2 very common reasons parents end up making this transition earlier than is ideal. Number 1, their child's daycare transitions them down to 1 nap because that's their policy. And number 2, their child starts resisting or skipping the 2nd nap. So let's talk about the daycare situation first. Many daycares in the United States transition children to 1 nap at 12 months. And I have found over the last year, for some, it's even earlier. If that's your situation, first, I just want to tell you, you're not alone, and we will get through this. If your daycare has moved your baby to 1 nap and keeping 2 naps there isn't an option, because you can always explore that, there are 2 things that you can do to help your baby stay rested and avoid that nighttime sleep regression. First, prioritize the earliest bedtime possible on the weekdays. A bedtime between 6 and 6:30 may be ideal to help them catch up on a little bit of sleep, but I realize for some families that's not going to be an option because they aren't even getting home until 6 p.m., which was the case when my girls were this age. So if that's the case, I would encourage you to aim for no later than 7 p.m. Second, continue offering 2 naps on the weekends, assuming your baby will still take them. Occasionally, maybe 1 in 10 I work with at this age group struggle to have the 2 different schedules, but the vast majority of the time, we can keep 2 naps on the weekend until closer to 15 months. And this allows your child to refill their sleep tank and go into Monday well rested. And if they won't take 2 naps on the weekends, keep on listening. If your little one is under 15 months and suddenly starts refusing that second nap, which is actually very common, or you're trying to keep 2 naps on the weekend when daycare only offers 1, but your little one is struggling to do that, then I want to talk through a plan. But before I do that, I want to explain why this 12 to 15 month window can be tricky for some kids. Before 12 months, most babies are going to thrive on 3 to 4 hours of total daytime sleep, which often means they're taking a 1.5 to 2 hour first nap. Between 12 and 15 months, total daytime sleep needs actually do decrease. And they typically shift from being in this 3 to 4 hour window into a 2 to 3 hour total need. So if you have a baby who's taking a long, solid first nap, say 1.5 to 2 hours, they may not have enough sleep pressure for that second nap because they've already gotten most of their daytime sleep needs met now that they've moved into needing a little bit less day sleep. If this is happening, however, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're ready for just 1 nap. It means that the schedule likely needs to be tweaked. So here's what I recommend doing. Step 1, cap that first nap at 1 hour of sleep. That single change often brings back nap 2 pretty seamlessly. If capping the first nap at 1 hour doesn't do the trick, move on to step 2, which is to keep that first nap capped at 1 hour and push the start time of the second nap out later. It could be as late as 2:30 p.m. For babies who are under 15 months, I tend to find that 2 1-hour naps is usually going to be more restorative and beneficial than 1 2 to 2.5 hour midday nap. So even if that midday nap gets them a little bit more sleep, if they're not ready for 1 nap, having 2 1-hour naps is going to allow them to stay rested. So here's what I want you to take away from this episode. If at all possible, try to support 2 naps a day until as close to 15 months as you can. And I should note that some babies will stay on 2 naps a day until closer to 18 months. So we don't need to jump the gun if things are going well. And if things get a little sticky along the way, particularly in that 12, 13, 14-month window, small schedule adjustments can often help you protect keeping 2 naps and protect good night sleep. If you found this episode helpful, again, I'd be so grateful if you would take a moment to rate and review the podcast. We put a lot of care and time into creating this free educational content, and rating and reviewing and sharing the episodes you love is the very best way that you can support this work. Thanks so much for taking a minute to do that. It truly means the world. As always, thanks for listening, and I hope you'll come back again next week. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to How Long Till Bedtime. To learn how we can work together to improve your child's sleep, please visit sleepandwellnesscoach.com.